Welcome to the Better Memoir Writing Masterclass channel. For those of you who do not know me, I am Denis Ledoux. I'm the author of the classic granddaddy of memoir writing books, Turning Memories into Memoirs, and I'm the founder of the Memoir Network. In today's video, we look at the right way to write in backstory or flashback, as it is sometimes called, and we will discuss how to avoid too much backstory. This is another video in the sequence of the correct use of time in your memoir. Using backstory correctly will help you write better the first time around. The earlier you write better, the less you will have to edit and rewrite later. Backstories and flashbacks, of course, refer to mentioning events after they occur, that is, out of time sequence. They are strategic alterations of chronology. Generally, backstories are used to present, explain, or review something that has happened before the present of the story. The flashback or backstory is necessary to understand the story. Let me give you an example. You are writing a scene about a time when you, alas, got fired from your job. As you write about this vignette, you throw in a backstory about your college studies, about how much you loved your college major, and how you liked your college, and how eager you were to enter the workplace as a graduate. Then you go on to throw in the catty politics of the office from which you got fired. You even throw in a vignette about your boss's spouse coming on to you, and another snippet about the wasteful and tasteless redecorating your boss commissioned. For good measure, you describe the company's history and, oh, stop it, this is going on really much too long. All this backstory is just not necessary. At least it's not necessary here, not at this time. What you are writing is a standalone article, a magazine article, and not a memoir chapter when you include all of this backstory. Now, spend your energy writing what your memoir needs to be written at this time in your story. A standalone magazine article is short form in which you have to stuff the whole story, while a memoir is a long form in which you can leisurely write about your story, your life. As you write about being fired, make a note of the details of the more important backstories you will want the reader to know. Perhaps now, or more likely at some other time, you will write these stories. Later, when you are finished with the firing story, you can take the time to write the backstory, either as its own vignette to be placed in an earlier chapter, or you can move on to another episode and save the writing of the backstory for later. Once a particular backstory is written, you can insert it into the manuscript where it belongs chronologically. Your love of your major will fit into your college chapters, and the catty office politics will fit into another chapter, a chapter that's well before the firing. The boss's spouse coming onto you will also fit into another earlier chapter. These stories or vignettes do not belong jammed into the firing story. Of course, in the firing story, you can have brief flashbacks to the catty office politics and to the boss's wife. But these will be 1 or 2 sentences long and will remind the reader of something you have already developed elsewhere. These brief flashbacks will not be developed to contain every detail. They will merely be elusive to prior texts, which themselves had provided the details the reader needs to know. When you overwrite a story, essentially a memoir chapter, by stuffing it with too much backstory, you disrespect chronology and drama and the reader's patience. Furthermore, when you go easy on backstory, you will find subsequent editing a much easier task. Avoiding too much backstory is a writerly way to write. No more extensive cuts that leave you wondering if you have a logical sequencing to what is left. No more decision about where to paste the material you cut from a vignette. You will no longer have to ask, is this really the right sequence, the right place in the story? Do I have the transitions in place to make this vignette understandable here where it is? Well, what ought the vignette about the being fired contained? The firing story ought to have the scene of your being fired, perhaps being called into the boss's office, the very words that were used. Your boss's diction, his attire, comportment are all appropriate here. Specific dialogue and setting also fit in. Your internal chatter is good to include. Your emotional reaction, the anger, the embarrassment, the uncertainty can also be incorporated into this vignette. Now here is an appropriate backstory. I don't want to give the impression that backstory is always inappropriate. Sometimes it is. Just say this particular backstory involves a coworker you had actually very little relationship with and who doesn't have a role in your memoir except right here in this chapter. Let's say she speaks up for you. You want to mention in your text that she is a fair person, a just person, and has spoken up for someone else earlier just as she is speaking up for you now. This can be a very short backstory, and it would be totally inappropriate at this place. This may also be the only place in your memoir where she fits in. She simply has no other role. You can do it as a short flashback. But of course, you can also develop a vignette about another worker being fired and about the woman speaking up for that person. This would clue the reader to the volatile atmosphere in the company. It would fit in earlier in your memoir. You would have developed it as a story in its own right, and then you would allude to it in the firing chapter. The vignette about when you were fired needs to be a story of something that happened at one time, in one place, to one person. Not a story about everything relating to the memoir, a vignette that is full of backstory or flashback so that the reader becomes confused about what happened, when, and to whom, and why, and where. When you tell only the one story as it occurred at the time to you, you will save yourself the effort and the time of revision later. It's not only saving the effort to cut and paste. When you write just the one scene, you are much more likely to be attuned to the drama of that particular scene. If you write only what fits into the story at any point in your memoir, you will not have to weed out elements later to insert elsewhere. You will save editing time. Well, it's your time that you will save. To repeat, a flashback ought to be an opportunity to recall what the reader already knows, to put the awareness into a perspective the reader needs, and even to add some detail that the main character, who is generally you, now knows or realizes that she or he didn't know or appreciate earlier. This, of course, is a conceit, as the author, also known as the narrator, knows the whole story. Otherwise, you wouldn't be writing it. But we write as if we, the author, the narrator, are discovering the story along with the reader. Proper use of time sequencing and flashbacks, backstories, separates the professional or polished writer from the amateur. Present yourself as a professional by implementing the writing techniques I write about here for time sequencing and backstories, flashbacks. I hope this has been helpful to you in your writing. If you would like to explore receiving help with your memoir on any aspect of memoir writing, know that we offer a 30-minute complimentary get-to-know-you coaching consultation. Oh, and before you go, here's a bonus, a link to our video, How to Write a Better Memoir. This video will help you both to write your memoir and to edit it once written. And remember, inch by inch, It's a cinch, yard by yard. It's hard. Good luck writing your stories. The videos that we post on the Better Memoir Writing Masterclass channel are just one of the many ways we can help people write better memoir. I'd like to take just a few moments to share more of what the Memoir Network can offer you by way of partnering with you to write and publish your memoir. Our free membership program, My Memoir Education, offers you access to e-courses, e-books, videos, and more. We have had thousands of people benefit from the free My Memoir Education to write their memoirs, and we hope you will become a member too. Our blog contains over 500 in-depth posts on different aspects of memoir writing, and it too is free. Come on over and pick and choose what you need. While free content can be very helpful, there comes a time when you need more focus and more mentoring than you can get from free. We offer coaching, editing, whether copy editing, content editing, or developmental editing, ghostwriting, and book production. Our website features many of our clients' book covers and testimonials. Come and check us out. We also have a number of programs you can purchase. The Memorable Story is a 10-module home study program on every aspect of memoir writing. It provides university-level mentoring. The Inspired Memoir Writer is a group coaching program. You meet with fellow writers over a period of 10 sessions. We also offer Jumpstart Memoir Professional Packages, which are designed for people who would like to help others write their memoir. If you're interested in knowing more, please feel free to call us or email us at info@thememoirnetwork.com. Thanks, and keep writing.